IdeaCity, the smartest people, the biggest ideas.
In the book that Terry Mosher's nom de plume is Aislinn. Those people who have been bitten by Terry think it's rather nom de guerre and wonder how it is that such an avuncular and Santa Claus-looking guy has such sharp teeth, even though he always does it with a smile on his face. His game is cartooning, and he comes up with these profound and wickedly funny comments, all of which you can take in at a glance. This is the art of compression. This is the art of getting to the heart of the matter in a way that's side-splittingly funny, elevated, I think, to genius. Where is he? Terry Mosher.
Thanks very much. On the left. Right, Jack?
Yeah, the left one.
Should I give it a try?
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you very much. Jack is our man back here. We've got Jack Rabinovich up front. I've got a grandson in Toronto named Jack. Everybody in Toronto is named Jack. All the Jacks, put up your hand. A couple there. Everybody who watched the debate last night, put up your hand. Okay, now those who are lying, put down your hand. The debate. Okay. So, the best on television last night. We asked an old liberal, and he said Martin. We asked an old Tory, and he said Harper. We asked a veteran NDPer, and she said Jack. We asked an original blockist, and he said Duceppe. And then we asked a young man in the street, some kid in the street, and he said the best thing on television last night was World Cup paintball. This is the cartoon that appeared in the Gazette this morning in Montreal. The wonder of technology. I was here in Toronto, but drew the cartoon. Cartoonists, the editorial page cartoonists can't mess around. We have to be the fastest people in the cartooning and humor business. If something happens the previous night, it has to be on the editorial page the next morning, or else we hear about it from the readers, whoever it happens to be. So I have to streamline my process. We all do, keep it very simple in order to get at that stuff. So this year, as opposed to the past when I've talked about history cartooning, that sort of thing, I'm going to actually talk about the process of coming up with a cartoon and walk you through 3 different cartoons, if we have time. So my daily routine, let's see now. Okay. It's just a process. I like that shirt, clearly. Watch some news, look through some papers, half a dozen papers or so, come up with a kernel of idea, head for the drawing board, and almost start to sketch right away, no matter what happens to be. On this particular day, and it's kind of fuzzy, but it's broadband, right? Actually, we just shot this handheld, but you'll get the idea, I think. On this particular day, a couple of weeks ago, a few things were happening. The Stanley Cup final was coming up with all the hoopla with the Calgary Flames. And at the same time, it looked like Stephen Harper might be possible that he could form a majority, but only with the help of the Bloc Québécois. So this is rattling around in my brain. So I began to sketch, which is kind of the process that goes on. Began to play with the business of Gilles Duceppe. And while drawing, it's sort of all this stuff is going through my head. Now, I'll build the cartoon here for you. Rough sketch of Duceppe. I know the guy likes football, so I put a sweater on him. Kind of liking this, so I go into a final caricature, the actual head. I like the sweater, so I put the sweater back on him. Add a nice little detail here. Watch this. started to cook. Add a gray background. By this time, it's scanned into the computer, colorize the process, add a text box. And at this point, what am I going to have him saying? He's saying something to the effect of, Stephen Harper just called from Calgary. And then, to finish the cartoon, turn his sweater into a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey. Understanding that people look at a cartoon for just a few seconds. So all of this thought and work goes into it, but always understanding that the people are going to look at this very quickly. And I had incorporated the two sort of basic ideas that were going on that day. Now, things happen out there in the big world, and we sort of have to be prepared for it, but we don't always know what's coming. Sunday's my day off. Here I am, sitting in my living room, reading papers again, but nevertheless taking the day off. The phone rings. Answer the phone. It's the Gazette. Am I watching television, they want to know. Turn on the television, and what do you know? Saddam Hussein captured. On a Sunday morning, for Christ's sake. Yeah. Okay, off, out of the pajamas, jump into the car. The Gazette's 10 minutes away. Nice building we have downtown, right in the heart of Montreal. Great place to work. Get into the studio. Here we go. Watch television again. Get the internet going on the little computer. Watching this stuff, and so it's coming in. And this is how it happens. I'm watching this stuff, this big event. Looking at the visuals, right? And it's sort of, it's over and over again, this business with the tiles in the background. Here's another one. So at this point, I begin to block it out. I start a sketch. A little more detail. An actual final drawing that I'm quite happy with. But what sort of context to put it in? I remember the business for the Americans, the most wanted on the playing cards. So take the drawing. Grab a deck of cards. There's the ace of spades. That was the symbol for Saddam Hussein. I checked with the library to make damn sure first. Tear it up. Scan it into the computer. Eliminate the spade in the middle. This is a little complicated, but add the drawing. And also, very important, add a center dot right in his eye so that the whole thing is is drawn to that sort of captured, cornered look in the eye. Add some color, and I've got a final cartoon for the editorial page. Walk it downstairs, see Ray Beauchemin, who's the weekend editor, give it to Ray, and my day's over. But Ray is looking at this. But he knows that every newspaper in the world is going to look at exactly the same the next day. For example, like the Toronto Star, running all the photographs. And he begins to play with the idea. And it's nice to have creative people around you who believe in trying something a little different. So he passes it on to the designer, who already has a photo set. He messes around with a concept on the front page. There's the final design, different from absolutely everybody else. The next day I walk into work, and there I am featured on the front page of the Gazette. Not only that, on the web page, we got a record number of hits that particular day. This is why a lot of the cartoons are in color now, because of the websites. So, as I say, you know, in the morning I'm reading the New York Times on my couch, and you just don't know what's going to happen, but you have to be ready for it, and you have to be fast on your feet. Well, this is just a rough sketch. Kind of liking this concept. I'm thinking maybe there's a cartoon here. We're in the middle of an election right now. Seems to be election of the bus, huh? And also with Giuseppe, we've got 3 new people running. Paul Martin. Whoops. Can we go back there one, Jack? Thanks. Paul Martin. We have the ever so brash Jumpin' Jack Flash. And the new Tory leader, Stephen Harper. in American Gear. You're going to see a lot of that, you know. Actually, I wish it kind of had been Belinda who had won. I mean, she would have made really good busts. You know? This is actually an illustration for the Paul Wells column in Maclean's, where I have a little more time and I can sort of play around with things. But there are times when you're looking for comic relief from the comic relief. The odd stuff that happens. So a couple of weeks ago, when the marijuana party came out, you know, with the great slogan, "Let's roll," on their platform. So this is good. You know, people are going to be talking about this a little different. So I started to sketch a guy, sort of rolling a joint. You begin to play with it here. You get the idea. And while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, what sort of situation am I going to put this fellow in? Kind of fun, eh? My wife says if I could draw that fast, I could draw, you know, a month's worth of cartoons in the morning. We've speeded it up a little bit here. Now, I'm starting to fill in detail here and wonder about this in the drawing. Would this be the final cartoon? Sort of build a head up, guy looking down, rolling the joint. Want to draw attention to the actual cigarette paper. So I'll fill in the sweater. But there's something wrong here. There's something basically wrong. And here's the problem. Show you in a second. There's the still. I got the fingers wrong. I've been straight and sober for so long, I forget how to roll a joint. Now, I don't want to go out into the hallway and grab some young employee and say, pretend to be rolling a joint, I want to watch your fingers. I mean, so what I do is go ahead. I just cut up a piece of paper and pretend it's an old zigzag. And then watch my own fingers, sort of. Yeah, exactly. That's right. All kind of coming back. All right, I think I've got it after watching it. So here's how it goes at this point. I forget about the other guy and I start. Okay. All right, draw the paper, a rough hand, add a little detail, another hand, add a little more. This is just a rough sketch. Kind of liking this concept. I'm thinking maybe there's a cartoon here. Go into more sort of detail. Start adding more fine cross-hatching, taking my time with it. A little more. I've got close to a finished cartoon here. Add the actual cut line at the top. Marijuana party, let's roll. But there's no sort of punchline on it yet. Nevertheless, I keep rolling with the thing. Scan this into the computer. Size it, jiggle it around. Add some gray background. Drop the text back in inverted so that it's very strong and jumps off the page. Begin the colorization process on the computer of the hands. Colored hands. Now this is fun. Watch the way this pops. I colored the grass. And then I want to emphasize the line at the top. Draw the line right to marijuana party. Add a green line under the bottom. But we still need a cut line on this. And here it is. This is how it worked. Which I think is kind of how it's going to go. I mean, who calls an election on June 28th, for Christ's sake, you know? We're all on holidays. I can imagine people kind of... So this was the cartoon. This has been my favorite cartoon I'm going to close with of the campaign so far. It's a wonderful way to make a living. We're very blessed here in Canada. A second part of my mandate at Maclean's, in addition to illustrating Paul Wells, is to promote younger and lesser-known cartoonists. So we feature a cartoon with a rotating cast of about a dozen cartoonists from across the country in the front of the magazine. So we've got talent in there from Halifax to Vancouver appearing on a rotating basis every week. And it's very exciting. We've created this competition amongst the cartoonists. We have some of the best cartoonists working in Canada and the world, and it's great to sort of promote this stuff. And thank you very much.
Get the latest Idealist news, presenter information, and watch streaming video at www.ideacityonline.com.